So for this question, you need to use this formula, the continuously compounded interest formula, where A is 5,500, because it's the amount that you end with, equals principal amount, which is 3,500 times E R T. So wait, R is the rate. So R is the interest rate, which would be 0.038. So you plug in 0.038 t. So we're solving for t here. So the first thing that you would do is divide both sides by 3,500. So you get whatever this is. So that's 1.57 equals 1.57 equals e to the whatever power 8 0.038 times t. So in order to solve for t here, you have to know natural logs. So you would have to use a graphing calculator for this. So basically the rule with natural logs, natural log is just log where the base is e, right? So I'm just going to use like 7 as an example, but this is the same as this, natural log 7. So in this case, in short, how you would solve, and then ln e is always equal to 1. So using natural logs to solve this, you would take the natural log of both sides of the equation. So natural log 1.57 equals natural log, you would move this to the front, the point, this power here, you would move it to the front. So 0.038 t natural log ln e. So that just becomes 1. So you just get rid of it. So now we have natural log, So we can simplify this by putting it into the calculator. So you get 0.45 equals 0.038 t. And then you just solve for t. And then you should get 0.038. You should get 11.87. So this is how many years it would take, right? So all I did was plugged in the numbers into the formula. And then you just have to remember, even if you don't understand natural log, just remember that when you get to this part of solving the equation, you have to take the natural log of both sides, and it's gonna bring the power to the front, and then you just get rid of the natural log because this equals 1. And then you just solve for the rate times t. But this applies when you need to find t, or it asks you, how long will it take? That's when you know you have to solve for t. I forgot to mention, when you're doing the compounded interest questions on the test, the first thing you should do is write down the formula. So memorize the formula. This is the continuously compounded interest one. And then memorize the other one, which is the what is it? I'll send it to you. But memorize both of them, and when you get the test, the first thing you do is write them down. So to do this question, you need to remember SOHCAHTOA. So sine, cos, tan. So for sine, it's opposite over hypotenuse. For cosine, it's adjacent over hypotenuse. And then for tan, it's opposite over adjacent. And you can remember that because SOH, so that's so, and then toa. So it's because cosine starts with C, adjacent A, hypotenuse H, so on. And then tan is opposite over adjacent. And what that means is that, so for the angle that you're focusing on, this is theta. It's just a variable. It's the same as like x. It's just what you plug in if you don't know it. So this is the angle that we're focusing on. So the side opposite to it is obviously the opposite. The hypotenuse, which is for any right triangle, it's this side here. So the hypotenuse is here. And then the adjacent is what's next to, it's what connects the angle to the right angle. So this side is the adjacent. Or you can also remember it as the side that's next to the opposite side that isn't the hypothesis, or the hypotenuse. So adjacent would be here. So I'm just gonna shorten it to just the first letter. So O for opposite, A for adjacent, H for hypotenuse. So the first thing that we're gonna do is find the hypothesis, which you do using the Pythagorean theorem, which is C equals the square root of A squared plus B squared. So you plug in A and B would be the sides that you know. So it would be 12 and 4. Square root of 12 squared plus 16 squared, which is square root of 160, which is 12.6. I'm just going to round to 5, 12.65. So this is the hypotenuse here. Right, so I'm just going to erase the H. This side we know is 12.65. So now we just have to solve for the angle. Right, so now we're going to use the tan, right? So we have opposite. So the sides that we're working with is the side opposite to the angle, and actually, I think you can use whichever one has a hypotenuse in it. So it would be either sine or cosine. So I'm going to use sine. So sine of theta equals opposite, which is 12, over hypotenuse, which is 12.65. And then we're going to solve for 12.65, or 12 divided by that, and we would get 12 divided by 12.65. 0.94. I'm going to round to 9.5. Actually, I don't think I should round. 948. Okay? And so now what you do is you have to use the inverse sine function to find theta. So it would be sine.
Inverse tan.
It would be inverse sine. Yeah, so you would write sine this right here, and then in parentheses 0.948. And all you have to do is plug this into the graphing calculator. So you need a graphing calculator to do this problem. And I'll send a video on how to plug this into the calculator. But when you do plug it in, you get 71.44 degrees. So that's the answer. And I'll show you how to do this last step on the graphing calculator. So for this is basically the same concept, but you're solving for different things. So in this case, we're solving for a side instead of an angle. So the first thing that we're going to do is establish like what angle. This is the angle we're focusing on. This is the opposite side, and this is the hypotenuse. So this is what we have. This is the information we have, and then this is what we're trying to find. So since we're working with O and H, that's so. So we're using sine. So then I'm going to write sine. See here how we have theta? We don't know what it is, so we put in theta. For this case, we have the angle. So we're going to do sine of 53.3 equals the opposite, which is 10, over the hypotenuse, which is x. So now we're just going to use algebra to solve this. So I'm going to multiply, I'm going to get rid of the fraction by multiplying each side by x. So x sine 53.3 equals 10. Divide each side by sine 53 actually, it might be faster to just solve sine already. So I'm going to plug it in the calculator. You just press sine. Make sure the setting is in degrees instead of radians. You press sine and then plug in the number so that you don't do the inverse function. You just do regular sine. So that equals 8. So I'm going to write 0.80. Thank you. 0.80177. Wait, is that what's going on?
Oh, I thought you were recording on your phone.
No.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. So it's 0.80177. X equals, because we solved the sign, so equals 10. And then you just divide each side by the decimal. So you should get x equals So you should get x equals 12.47. Yeah. So this is what you should get.